sandwich.
Good job. I just said we were about to go live. You didn't listen.
Here. Hey, big puppy.
Oh, you're crazy.
Hey, big puppy.
But at least it worked. Anybody tuning in, we tried to go live. Was it Monday?
Stop.
Was it Monday we tried to go live with this?
Yeah, it was Monday.
It was Monday. And the software that Devin Davis suggested.
He's probably not even watching.
No, he's not, but he might catch some of the earlier part. Or at least tell him we mentioned him very early in the show and tell him he needs to watch the first few minutes about how our software just wouldn't work. We couldn't go live. Yeah. We were going to discuss the briefing, and we couldn't go live and discuss the briefing because the software Devin Davis had suggested didn't work. I can use words.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Not well. You know, I use language kind of like a less as a fine surgical tool and more like a club.
Yep. It's actually pretty accurate.
That's the problem. It's not. That's the difference between a surgical tool and a club. A surgical tool is accurate. A club is not. I should put up our chat so I can see if we have anybody talking today. And
yeah, because I'm still trying to bring it up on Facebook.
Well, I gave you lots of time.
I was playing with the dog. Who is now going to be really loud this entire time.
Yes. Good job. Good job. Very talented. So helpful.
It is. He's the best.
Mm-hmm. So this week, moderately slow news week. We had Canada Day. And despite attempts to cancel Canada Day in some areas, we did manage to have a pretty good Canada Day. We went to a freedom rally or Save Canada rally. What was the name of the beach?
No, it was not a rally. It was specifically not a rally.
Specifically not a rally. It was a beach party.
Yes.
Where was that, though? What was the name of that beach?
In Muscatado.
Martinique Beach in Muscatado. That was beautiful, beautiful beach.
Oh, yeah. It was really great.
All sand, really long. Lots of waves. The kids enjoyed standing in the absolutely ice-cold water. And just getting beaten to pieces by the waves.
It was great. The waves were pretty big that day, too.
And there was quite a few people there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, by the time we had partway through us being there, like the whole beach filled right up. And I didn't get shots of it, and I meant to.
Yeah, but I'd say there's probably about, 40 or 50 people for our group, at least.
Yeah, at one point.
And there was only, I think, one other family. Most of them were couples or single people. So that was actually a significant amount of people.
There was a couple people there that had kids with them.
Only 2 or 3, I think.
At least 2 that I knew from a homeschool group. Plus, there was a couple other people that I didn't know that our youngest was playing with. I've never met them before.
Yeah. So, but no, that was really nice to see. A lot of people came out for that. Yeah. So a few people driving around that day too with giant Canada Day flags on their trucks or whatever, which is kind of nice to see with all the attempts from, left-wing people or well-meaning centrists.
No, the government.
That's the thing, They did, they didn't. You know what I mean?
No.
Even Justin Trudeau even had a Canada Day message. It was muted, but there's about, I think, 15 or so towns or cities that said they weren't going to do Canada Day. But almost half of them, if not more, were saying that because they also had nothing planned because of COVID.
Yeah.
So it was kind of doesn't hurt to say we're canceling things because there's nothing to cancel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see a study that said the idea of canceling Canada Day, only popular with about 14% of Canadians.
I can not even believe it. I mean, there was no fireworks here, but we
Yep.
heard 4 to 6 separate like people doing their own fireworks just right here, and it's pretty residential here.
Yeah, I mean, last year there was a fair bit of fireworks, and I
Not
wonder if
like
it
this
wasn't
year.
sponsored by the town, but
Yeah, because those people across the road put on quite a show last year.
right, but there was nothing this year.
You know,
But as it is, instead of setting off fireworks, I guess the latest show is setting on fire churches.
hmm
I
yeah.
think we're up to, was it 9, 10 in
I
Canada
haven't
now?
been. I haven't been. No, a lot.
Yeah, so 9 or 10 at least. Um, and at least one of them was here in Nova Scotia, in Indian Brook. And it's
No, I thought it was two.
at least one. I
I
don't
thought it
know
was.
if it's two, but it's at
I
least
thought it was
one.
two in the same town, or something like that.
That was the
Okay.
Anglican Church.
Oh, okay.
Was that here? I didn't think that was here.
I don't know.
It was two. It was the old building and the new building side by side that burned.
Okay.
Um, absolutely burnt to the ground, and quite a few of them did. They completely burnt to the ground. And the thing is these are churches that are on reservations. These are churches that
Yeah.
are being attended by the people who live on the reservation. Okay, so it's they're being used by the native community, and they're being burnt to the ground. And I've
Yeah.
seen a few native people on Twitter and other places who said this is wrong. For one, this is not punishing the Catholic Church. This is punishing the natives. This is punishing the people who use the church. Agree, disagree, say what you want to say about what happened. But today we're using these and they're being destroyed. So that's kind of a sad situation. And I know a lot of people are saying things like, well, they killed this many kids here, they killed this many kids there. Okay, well, most people don't realize, one, how long the schools were in place.
hmm
Those have been in place since basically since Sir John A. Macdonald.
Yeah, for quite a while.
Right? They were in place for not hundreds of years, but over almost 100 years, I think. 70? Well, no, because the last one closed in 96. So it probably would have been over 100 years.
Okay.
And the thing is so much of the blame for that falls on the federal government. I'm not going to say not on the churches, but most of the kids that died, the cause of death was disease. Those places were absolutely rampant with disease.
Yeah.
Most of the kids had tuberculosis. One study figured it was about 25% of the kids ended up with TB, and that's because they had nowhere to put the kids. These residential schools had absolutely no room. The kids were packed in as tight as they could because the federal government wouldn't give them any money. There wasn't enough money to pay for the building and the heat and the food and the basic necessities for the kids.
Yeah.
So the churches supported it, as in they paid for part of it,
No,
and then they made the kids
let's not
work.
conflate terms here. The churches didn't support it. The Catholics and um, the one branch
Anglicans.
of the Anglicans and the one branch of the Presbyterians.
Right.
Probably we have to look into that.
Yeah, there's only, I think, one or two Presbyterian run ones. But that's the issue. Like, they didn't give the kids anything of what they needed. The federal government said, take these kids, educate them. And churches, the schools said, okay, can we have some money? And the federal government said, no.
Yeah.
So the kids actually never even got an education. They actually were forced to work, right, to make things, to sell things, so that they could fund the school and feed the kids.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not dismissing at all what the churches that ran those schools did, the Catholic Church
Mhm.
or the Anglicans or anybody who was involved with that. But I think blame has to be apportioned properly. You know, in the 60s, late 60s, the federal government actually proposed doing away with the Indian treaties, the Indian Act, and everything, and assimilating the natives into the population completely. There's no nothing.
Who is this under?
Jean Chrétien, who was the Indian Affairs and Northern Development Minister from 1968 onwards, proposed eliminating the treaty, just saying, screw it, throw it out, saying, no more reservations, no more natives, you all get to become Canadians, and that's the end of the story. We're not going to do anything for you. That's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Pierre Elliott Trudeau
Uh-huh.
and the other people in his government. It's called the White Paper.
Okay.
I think the White Paper, White something, or the White Proposal might have been.
Yeah.
It was a severe backlash, so they never passed it. And then the other part was which nation was it? I think it was. I'm not going to pronounce the name. I'll get it wrong and I'll butcher the pronunciation. But one of the reservations actually went to the federal government, went to Jean Chrétien about a suicide crisis that they were having and the problems they were having with residential schools, and he wouldn't do anything. I don't even know if he met with them. I think he might have met with them and he just did nothing about it. And they're burning down Catholic churches that the natives use. Like, this is harming their communities. They're burning these down, and Jean Chrétien's sitting in his mansion with all of his honors and badges and everything. They've been calling for an inquiry into him since 2016. Sorry, since 2016 when the TRC came out. People were calling for an inquiry, but it never got any traction.
No, of course not. He's a liberal. Nothing ever happens to them. They're perfect and golden and nothing bad. They don't do anything bad. And if you think they did, you're obviously wrong because nothing will ever happen to them. Which kind of goes for all of them, but
right. And I need to make it clear, like, I am not in any way defending residential schools. I've heard some people actually defend them and say, well, the kids learned things and it was good. No,
they can learn from their parents. Like, I'm sorry,
right?
It's a parent's right to educate their children however
100%.
they see fit. Like,
100%.
That's it.
Right. And residential schools set the native population back.
Probably.
I mean, it absolutely, they weren't, there was no good. Sorry. I know some people who support them. I don't. There was no good.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bad decision from start to finish.
Yeah.
And it was all founded on disrespect and dislike of natives. Like, that's just how it was.
Oh, yeah.
But, we need to start. We need to stop with the burning of the churches, because that isn't.
It's not doing any good.
It's not doing any good.
It's right up there with the whole idea of let's cancel Canada Day because here's a thing that happened that doesn't make me feel patriotic. Like, no, it doesn't make any of us feel patriotic, but we can't cancel a day because bad things happened. We can't burn churches because bad things happened. This doesn't solve the problem. This doesn't rectify anything, and it's not going to make the victims feel any better. I mean, to say that it's virtue signaling is what it is. Even burning those churches is a type of virtue signal. It's an aggressive type, but it's the same thing. And it's just, I fail to see how this is going to solve the problem or make anybody feel better.
No, and that's exactly the issue, right? It's not going to improve the situation at all. But I mean, they're not interested in. Sorry, some of the people involved in this sort of thing, or the people who are encouraging it, they think they're going to make the situation better, or they just don't care and they're taking out their own hatred.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of thing as the people who no, I lost my train of thought. You distracted me.
Probably.
It's your fault.
I did. Usually.
100%.
Yep.
But it's the same sort of issues the people who were tearing down statues this weekend. This
Where?
week.
Oh, yes, that's right. I saw some of those.
Yep. Down in Manitoba, they tore down a statue of Queen Victoria. I watched the video, and all I can think is, this is going to land on somebody. This is a big statue, right? She was seated in the statue, right? And they pulled it off. I'm just watching, like, somebody's going to get hit by this, but they
Wouldn't be
didn't.
the first time.
Right? They didn't.
Okay.
And then they pulled down a statue of Queen Elizabeth.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. So that's 2 statues pulled down.
That helps. That helps.
Oh
so
yeah,
much.
absolutely,
That
absolutely.
is going to really stick it to the Queen.
I know. Queen Victoria is spinning in her grave.
She's so upset now.
Right. And of course, it was all mostly white people in orange shirts.
No, really?
That's been some of the concern they've had, is that the people burning down the churches, the people causing all these issues, are not from the communities.
Yeah.
So
it's people who feel like they need to help the people from the communities that they feel like they've helped contribute to their poverty. It's like, I can't wrap my head around what's going through their heads while they're doing these things.
Right? It's like what George Orwell said in 1984. I had to look it up because I didn't remember it perfectly.
He said a lot of good stuff in that one.
Oh yeah, that's a good book. Every record had been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has renamed. Every date has been altered. And the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right.
Yep. And it's like, so we see it now. We see schools and businesses being renamed because they don't like where the original name came from. We see statues being torn down. If you look at just, sometimes you can see the edit history for a news article that's written online. And on those ones, you can see quite a lot. But there's been a lot of news articles lately, working with a friend of mine. And he'll pull up an article and he'll be writing his piece on it. And then he'll show me later and he's like, it's gone. I have the paper copy in front of me because he subscribes to this one, whatever it is that does it quite badly. He subscribes to it. So he has the paper copy of the article where in New Brunswick, Premier Higgs said he was going to use SWAT teams to get the vaccine out to the reluctant few. He has the hard copy of this, but the online copy has been taken down. This has happened countless times just in the last 2 weeks, just talking to this one friend of mine. And then you look at other articles I've seen this past month where it'll say, and I can't remember who it was or what exactly it was about, but it had this one, it was an American one, but it had somebody's name. I think it was one of the guys who come up with the mRNA vaccines. And he's speaking out against the way they're being used right now. And so the original article had his name as a contributor to the mRNA vaccines and the whole research paper and all that. Then after he started coming out against what's going on right now, they changed it, took his name out, and just put in the organization that he was affiliated with to be working on it. I mean, so and it's all on was it the Wayback Machine? It's like this
Yep.
new thing I've just discovered that I still can't work right, and it's amazing, and I love it. But yeah, so they're doing it right in front of us. They are rewriting everything with the greatest of ease. Like they don't even have to try.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just they weaponize outrage, right? Just make everybody mad, and that's how they make it work.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just checking something here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna mute myself for just 1 second.
Oh, okay. So I'm talking to myself? I can't do that. You're the one that chats nonstop. What are you looking up? Oh, you're muted.
I just want to double check and make sure the stream was going properly on Facebook.
Yes, it is. You could have just asked me. I've got it open.
Yes, but you don't have the sound playing.
No?
I checked the
I've
sound.
done it in like 2 seconds.
I was just checking it.
Yeah.
So, Nova Scotian news. The injunction will not be allowed to be challenged in court because reasons.
Because there could possibly, at any moment in time, be an emergency where we need one. It might possibly happen.
Well, I think the reason the judge gave was, well, we don't really need to have it because, or we don't really need to talk about it because the injunction's dropped, but it's okay because the province has promised, and we know how good they are with the promises. They have promised that if they need to get another injunction, they won't do an ex parte application again. They're going to go and they're going to make sure that we. They promised to tell the CCLA.
Yeah.
They promised to tell the CCLA next time. I don't think they have a written agreement to do that. They just said, well, we'll give it to them. We'll tell them next time.
Because, their word is all we need.
Right? It's just like the whole border situation. The whole border situation. Like Rankin promised we'd have the border open on the 23rd, and the border was open on the 23rd, except for where it wasn't. But it was still true, and he didn't lie, and he was exactly right. The border was open. It just wasn't.
At least he told the truth a second time when everybody was watching him. That's the part that matters.
Right? And everybody keeps still pushing on Smith McCrossan, blaming her for it. She actually posted a huge timeline about what happened. Like, she didn't instigate anything. She was told about the protest and she went. And that same border group, I just found this out the other day. That border group who blocked the highway, that's not the first time they've blocked the border.
Yeah.
That's just the first time the media covered it. And they only covered it because, one, it was a longer shutdown, and two, there was an MLA involved.
Yeah.
So there was
more
of a story.
They had to make a conservative look bad.
Right? And this is the thing, this is the state of politics in Nova Scotia. You can either vote for the red-colored Liberal Party, the blue-colored Liberal Party, or the orange-colored Liberal Party.
We don't talk about the green-colored Liberal Party.
Well, the green-colored Liberal Party is basically what the NDP would be in other provinces. I don't know. Like, the Green Party is as left as we can go here.
Yeah. Like, they're crazy.
But they're also, like, not that much farther left than anyone else.
Yeah, they are. And the problem with the Green Party is they have like no policies. The only things they kind of have policies on things, but the only things they really care about were legalizing weed.
Yeah.
And the climate. So like they have policies on other issues, but they all revolve around the climate. So like they're just they're messed up. They're bad.
Well, I mean, the climate's going to kill us. That's why
Yeah.
so many people are dying in BC right now because they've got that massive heat wave. I've seen one estimate. Sorry, I saw one estimate that it was up to 750 people or something like that. 771, I think, is the number I saw.
That's a lot.
They had this heat dome that trapped itself over the province, put the temperature up to almost 47.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the issue is, so here's the thing: that heat dome killed. If that number is accurate, it killed more. It killed about a third of, this, of what they say COVID killed in BC.
Like,
in 4 days.
right?
But this is the thing. This is what people just don't understand. How many people actually die every day?
Yeah.
So in one report I saw said 233 sudden deaths in this area in 4 days. And somebody, I was searching this number up because somebody on Twitter said there had been this many. And I'm like, that's a lot. I'm looking and I'm seeing one report says 50 people. One said 70 people. One news report said 100 people. And I'm trying to figure out where are they getting this number from? And I finally found this one that said 233 people. And the coroner for the area said, in the past 4 days, we've had 233 people die suddenly, which is 100 more than we would expect in this time period.
Right?
But you think about that. In 4 days, 30, 60, 90. So what is that? 32 people a day?
Yeah.
They expect 32 people to drop dead every day in this area in BC.
Yeah.
And that's just sudden death.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
We just have no concept of how many people die.
And that's just one area of BC. We've had less than 100, it's 90 something, I believe. In almost 18 months, we've had 90 something people die of COVID in all of Nova Scotia in almost 18 months. And this is enough to warrant what they're putting us through. But one area of BC gets 32 a day, spontaneous deaths. Please explain to me what the emergency is. I'm not saying there's not emergencies in other areas. We don't have that here. And the whole argument that, well, the reason we didn't have an emergency is because we had the lockdowns. Well, you have no more proof of that statement than I do of the statement we would have been fine without the lockdowns. Neither of these two statements has any proof at all, and both of them are invalid. We don't know what would have been. So, no, we don't have an emergency in Nova Scotia. There never has been one, and this is insane.
Well, here's the thing. We haven't had one in Canada. So here's some numbers for us. Weekly all-cause mortality per million. This is Canada's weekly all-cause mortality. Here we go. Here's the flu season of 2017. Oh, 2016 was a low year, but it looks like 2015 was a high year, right? There we go. 177 per million at the peak of the flu season in 2018. 2019 was shallower. COVID, 182 per million. But we also know that COVID kind of did tear through the nursing homes and bump that up a little bit. Canada, all-cause mortality per over age 85, per 100,000. This is 2015 flu. There was 321.1. So this is this week at the peak. 2017, 317 people per 100,000 over the age of 85. Look, it's just 2021 is 340. Like, it's all the same.
Yeah.
You had
18 was a max of 330.9. And then 2020 with COVID was a peak of 331.7.
But here's the question I have. One, you can see COVID was actually lower for the 65 to 84. Okay.
Mhm.
What happened to the people aged 0 to 44?
What am I looking at? I'm bad at
What we're
graphs.
looking at is a fairly straight line. How many per 100,000? Okay.
Mhm.
You know, barely peaks above 1.4. Here's the flu season ish. March 2020 climbed from I think a normal high looks like 1.41 up to a high of about 1.62.
Yep.
That doesn't look like any other curve. And then the end of it here drops off like this, most likely because data is incomplete.
Well, yeah.
That's what I would suspect. But yeah. Now, again, this is not a huge number. So 1 or 2 people per 100,000 is not a lot compared to, 65 to 84 where you're 50 per 100,000, or 85 plus where you have 300 per 100,000. But you still got people 0 to 44. It's a pretty big increase.
Yeah.
When you consider the population of Canada is about 37 million, the population from 0 to 44 is probably, I'm going to say, probably about 20 million. That's just an estimate based on some things I've seen. I could be very far off, but if it's 20 million, that's 200 100,000s. No, that's 2 million hundred. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm no good with
Yeah, it's probably like an extra 60 people a week or something like that.
that.
I'd really have to pull out a pen and paper or a calculator to figure it out. But yeah, so making me jump by liking the stream. So yeah, it definitely it's kind of interesting when you start looking at all these. As a cat,
Wesley.
he's trying to climb on your keyboard.
He's smelling the remnants of my sandwich.
But that's the thing is, the more and more you look at all of this, the more and more it doesn't make any sense. Right? Our flu season's peak coincides with COVID. I'm not saying COVID is the flu. Right? I don't believe that. I'm not saying it's not as bad as the flu or just as bad as the flu. I'd say, based on the hard numbers, it's a little bit worse than the flu.
Isn't COVID though actually basically a mutation of a common cold virus?
No and yes. So what it is we have actually 4 common cold viruses. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There are coronaviruses.
Yeah.
And when you get the
2 of
common
them
cold,
are the predominant ones, and then 2 of them lead to these worse ones. I think is what I had read.
No, there's 4 common cold coronaviruses that have been around for a long, long time. And scientists actually think they started exactly the same way that COVID did. It would be a dog or a cat or a pig coronavirus crossed into humans, killed a bunch of people, became less deadly, and now is a common cold. And this is what we're already starting to see. Early stages, but we're seeing COVID mutate into something that may be highly infectious and mild, right? You've got the Delta variant is tearing through the UK right now, and they're actually testing to see which variant people are getting.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for more complete data, but the preliminary data is absolutely shocking. The preliminary data says the fatality rate might be as low as 0.3%. Preliminary data says, shh, shut up, Sam. It's your fault. but the original variant is more like 1.9 to 2%.
Mhm.
Now that's case fatality ratio, which is confirmed cases of the disease. The infection fatality ratio,
Yeah.
which is the estimate of how many people actually got an infection and died, is usually not quite 10 times lower. So the infection fatality rate on the common flu or the seasonal flu is somewhere around, I might have my decimal places wrong on this, but I think it's 0.15% is the seasonal flu.
Okay.
And COVID would be 0.3. So almost twice. That's the latest estimates. Or it might be 0.1503. One of the two. Either way, COVID is half.
Yeah.
If this Delta variant fatality rate holds,
Mm.
it's going to end up with an infection fatality rate somewhere around a tenth of the common flu, maybe an eighth.
Hmm.
So there is a chance that the Delta is going to become the more predominant variant. And if what we're seeing holds true, that's amazing news.
Yeah. Unless you're
Uh,
CNN.
CNN loves it though. CNN loves the Delta variant because it leads to actually more hospitalizations.
Hmm.
So more people are being hospitalized with the Delta variant, but far fewer people are dying. Like it's not even close. Now, this again is early days. So they're tracking about 60,000 cases in the UK, and only about 5 or 6,000 of them have reached 28 days since they discovered the case. And that's when they stop tracking and make the determination of whether or not it was an issue. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer to get the real results on that.
Hmm.
But if that's where we end up, it's going to be absolutely amazing because it means COVID's over.
No, that's only for people who actually can think for themselves. So everything you just said, and you even said it, you're like, yeah, CNN loves Delta because there's going to be more hospitalizations but less deaths. That's exactly what they're saying. Okay,
Mhm.
so the article I showed you earlier from CNN, the headline, how is it they worded that? Unvaccinated people are breeding grounds for variants or something insane like that.
Yeah,
And I
because
mean,
that's what's going to happen
the Stay the
in
Blazes
no.
home group, they're all flipping out over this article because they're like, "Oh, look." I mean, the fun I've been having with that this evening. That's the post that's on. Heavens, that's fun. So they're all flipping out that all us unvaxxed crazies are going to kill everybody because we're producing variants that make their vaccine ineffective. This is what they're being told. It's
Yeah,
like, but you don't need a vaccine for something that's not going to kill you because it's weak and like almost killed itself off. Like you don't need a vaccine for that. You're actually going to survive it. Right now you would survive what we currently have if you lost probably like 50 to 60 pounds and ate a vegetable once in a while.
right.
You know?
And that's the thing. I know so many people. Well, I'm immunocompromised, so I have this. I have asthma. What's actually
Oh, I love that argument.
worst the worst thing for you to have a bad outcome. That's barely English. Um, is
The
fat,
worst
overweight,
comorbidity, yeah, the worst
being
comorbidity to have with COVID.
other than being old or having
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, because those are the most common things. But it tends to be worse in people who have poor gut health, who are overweight. Dr. Chris Milburn was saying a lot of people are trying to you need vitamin D. People with high vitamin D tend to fare better. It's like, okay, is that correlation or causation? Because if I go out for a run, I'm going to have a lot more vitamin D than my neighbor who sits on his porch all day
No,
and eats
he said
Twinkies.
who sits in his basement eating Twinkies, watching TV, and playing video games all day.
Right?
Something like that.
As going for a run, I'm going to have more vitamin D, but that is not the only difference between us.
Yeah.
Right? Correlation, causation. Why do you have better vitamin D?
Yeah.
So,
but that being said, it's not going to hurt anything while we figure that out, which it is, to just tell people to get more vitamin D. This is actually going to be beneficial to their overall health anyway. There's no detriment. You can't get too much vitamin D. You actually can't. You'll just pee it out. Like, even if you take it in pill form, you're just going to pee it out.
right.
So,
or just get out in the sun.
right?
Not too much, because
then you'll look like me.
Yeah.
Cooked lobster. I forgot the sunblock for Canada Day.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's pretty bad.
I don't need sunblock.
This is one of the worst sunburns I've had in like years. I'm gonna peel and it's bad. It hurts so much.
Well, my arm is a little bit sore.
I'm gonna poke it if you keep saying that. I'm gonna run downstairs and start poking it. If you keep saying that, you're not allowed to talk.
I don't really get sunburns. Yeah, I know. It's unfair. I'm sorry. But anyways, was a little bit of a slow news week. I know.
I should send you those links to the Strangisms.
Yeah. Yes, you should. Strang. That was the thing. Strang was being a pest this week.
Well, hold on here. I gotta find it. The one I want first. Well, okay, so there's so many things he said in that one briefing we had this week, which, can I just say, it was fantastic to only have to listen to one of those.
Yeah.
Because wow, those are hard to get through. There were so many things he said, like when he contradicted the CDC. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, that was, well, you can mix and match. That's perfectly safe. The CDC actually has CDC has a huge warning out saying, yeah, don't mix and match vaccines.
Yep.
Unless you're Canadian. But it's science.
Yes.
And if you disagree with that, it's science.
Hold on.
Science not available in all areas. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, hold on. I think I got the first one I wanted. Okay, so I hope this is the right one. That's not what I want. Stop doing that. Why do I keep doing that? Copy.
So, trending on Twitter right now, while you're looking things up, trending on Twitter is I can't stand Trudeau.
Excellent.
Right. Well, after all the different I stand with Trudeau hashtags that went around, this is just awesome. And I seen somebody here has a hat. It says, elect a clown, expect a circus.
Yep.
So that's a good one too.
Yep.
All right. So
this first one it should be his plan to get the 20 to 30-year-olds vaccinated. It's a foolproof plan. I mean, this is going to work perfectly. And this is the problem. The 20 to 30-year-olds, so like our demographic, we're not getting vaccinated because we didn't have the right people telling us to. And we can't drive.
All right. We'll put ourselves through it. Here he is, man of the hour, Dr. Robert Strang. Was it? I just said clowns and circuses, something like that.
Right? That's nice.
Well, it's looking in the 20 to 30-year-olds, about, between 60 to 65% of them have had either one or a small number with both doses. So we still have work to do there. And as I said earlier to a previous question, walk-in is one of the things we're pushing to make it easier for them to get vaccinated, focusing on workplaces, working with partners to make sure accessibility is as optimal for them as possible. The other piece is using social media. We have a number of popular Nova Scotians, artists and others who are using on social media. Trailer Park Boys are one of them that are really giving a message in a way that resonates and in social media ways that young people get information. So we're using all different ways to get good information as well as to make sure there's good access. And we'll continue to monitor this and be creative and innovative to get to where we need to be.
I know it's necessary, but I really wish we didn't have to listen to him on stream.
It's so hard.
So those paragons of virtue, Trailer Park Boys, who are well known for making amazing, intelligent decisions,
Oh man.
are telling us the first thing we need to do is get vaccinated.
Yep.
These are the same guys who shot a video outside the NSLC when weed was first legalized, freaking out like, oh my gosh, are the cops going to come? Like, is it like, this is the same crew who use phrases like worst case Ontario. It's better than getting two birds stoned in a bush. It ain't rocket appliances. And vaccines are safe. You should get them.
Right? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Absolutely. I absolutely trust Ricky and Bubbles and whatever the other guy's name is.
I don't even know who he is. I was just thinking that, like, what is that other guy's name? Oh my
Oh,
Like, it just, I mean, it's comical to know that this is what our government thinks of us, of our demographic. Like, we are the 30-year-olds they're talking about. Okay. We are the demographic that apparently needs to be told to get a vaccine by the Trailer Park Boys. That's what's going to solidify it. And I'm just going to, like, I need to go now, get my vaccine. And it's a good thing they have walking clinics everywhere because, like, I can't drive. I can, but, like, the other idiot 20 to 30-year-olds apparently can't drive. So we needed things dumbed down to infographics on social media, Trailer Park Boys, and walking clinics.
Yep.
That's all we were looking for.
Yep.
I mean, it's a damn good thing Strang knew how to get us. We're just a bunch of idiots. I love how stupid he thinks we are. That one was great. That really made my day when he said that. It was fantastic. I have to get the
I know.
other clip up for you though. What?
it just, I listened to you, but I also looked up more Rickyisms because,
Did you figure out what that
What?
other guy's name is?
Julian. That's it. Julian.
Nope.
Julian, Bubbles, and Ricky, right? This is the thing, though. You can't completely discount using the Trailer Park Boys, right? Don't judge a cover of a book by its look. That's a Rickyism, of course.
Well, I mean, our views did go up when we started talking about them, so it's totally the secret right there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. You've got another
It was this
thing for us to listen to.
Yep, I think
Okay.
I've got it. And I think I did it right the first time. Look at me.
Nice.
Hopefully,
Oh,
this
here's a good Rickyism. When it comes to what's his name? Dr. Strang.
Yep.
I don't trust his judgmentals.
Right?
All right.
So this is the scary one. This is the one that made the whole briefing really hard to watch.
All right. Let's give her a listen.
You want to reopen and you want to be able to travel more. If you want to have less restrictions, you want to be able to go out for dinner, go to a theater, whatever. Well, the way you do that is to contribute to our collective effort to lift the restrictions by getting vaccinated now, not waiting. It's about caring for other Nova Scotians like we've done all along by getting vaccinated now, not waiting.
And that concludes today's news conference.
I'm confused. When should I get vaccinated?
Now.
Not waiting?
No. And
No.
the threat that's in that statement, that whole thing he just said. If you want to have your restaurants open, get vaccinated. You want to go to theaters and concerts, get vaccinated now. He's threatening us with our own God-given freedoms. And people are sitting here applauding him, making shrines to him at friggin' thrift stores somewhere. I don't even know which store that was. That was disgusting.
Yeah, that was
They're knitting dolls of him. And he's threatening us with our own God-given freedoms, and he's not even an elected official. I mean, that whole thing.
Well, there are just some people in power who are enjoying this and don't want it to end. Not Strang, though.
No.
Not Strang. No, he wants this over and done with. He's sick and tired of being in the limelight.
No, he hates it.
Dealing with all the hero worship, all of it. It's too much for him.
The free ties, he hates it.
Right. Anyways, it's about as much as I can take of him anyways tonight.
Yeah, no, we got no more clips I can't handle watching. I watched that briefing like 3 or 4 times just to write my notes. You're welcome, everybody who's not watching. It is really hard to sit through that.
Alrighty. So anyone who did tune in, thank you so much for watching tonight. We'll be back next week with more content.
Oh, but we have one good piece of good news.
Oh, okay.
What is tomorrow?
Sunday. Oh, we can go to church.
We can go to church as a full congregation and not have to be concerned about it. We can go to church as a full congregation that the government has allowed us to do.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
Right? As long as you only have 100 people.
Right.
50% capacity up to 100 people.
And then in Alberta, they actually let Tim Stevens out. They said they weren't going to. And then they kind of just went, oh, by the way, you're leaving. Bye.
Right?
Same
He's
with
home.
the...
that's all I care. He's home.
Right? Or the Grace Life, James Coates Church.
They took the fence down early.
Yep. Don't know why. They just went.
They mowed the lawn too. They mowed the grass. Like, it was the worst mow job I'd ever seen. So Devin's wife was out there with the baby. And she's showing all of this. Like, all of the fencing's gone. The grass is mowed, but they didn't whip or snip. So that's how you could tell that they did a really bad job of it. Because, like, all, like, the little trees that are on the side of the driveway had grass, like, this tall growing up them, while all the other grass was, like, this tall. But they took it down early. It's really weird. And then BC lifted their state of emergency and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. I actually, I heard about that. So the first thing I did was went and checked. No, ours is still there.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I've already checked that.
I think it's because they can just let it expire here.
Yeah.
Whereas in BC, they had to probably officially end it.
Yeah, I don't know how
we have to renew it. That's the thing. We renew it every 2 weeks.
Yeah, ours will be on the 11th. It has to be renewed.
Yeah.
So I'm watching that. No, I did watch that, and they didn't. Yeah. No.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on the 11th and see if they renew it.
Yeah.
We'll see if they renew it. But anyways, till next week, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.